One Punch Man 74. Yeah, that one. 74. That, yeah? Escalation. Part 2 of the review where I cover the fight against Elder Centipede, or as it should be called, Escalation Part 2, Burning Blue. Why is it called Burning Blue, Matt? Well, Cockney Matt, now that you ask, but let's get talking about it. So, we carry on where we left off last time with Phoenix Man swooping in, saving Garo and getting out of there. Genos went to take a shot at Phoenix Man, but before he could do anything, Elder Centipede showed up and blocked the blast and is there just to cover for them until they can get away. Well, cover for them, he's there to take down the S-Class heroes. And it's just the difference in power between, I suppose, even Phoenix Man. Like, as Phoenix Man flies off with Garo, he's like, you know, you suck at following through, but Elder Centipede is here. And even I can't help but admire his destructive power. So we can at least say that in terms of power, Elder Centipede was one of the top dogs. Because, like, Phoenix Man's pretty high up there, and sure, we probably haven't seen all of the most powerful people there, but I suppose compared to, and then we've got Monster King Orochi too. It's tough to say, but at the very least we know he's up there in terms of power. The point of Phoenix Man is like, even I can't be nothing but impressed. Words! I'm nothing but impressed about his destructive power. And because you suck at following through, you know, you've left those heroes alive, but don't worry, because Elder Centipede's going to take care of the rest. And Garo is not happy about this. Like, he's straight like, put me down, I'm going back there to finish him off. He's not okay with this whatsoever. And this is I'm a bit confused about. Well, no, I'm not actually, because he wants himself to be the symbol of fear. He wants himself to be the world's greatest monster. He wants to be seen as this person people should fear and be inspired by. So if it turns out that after all this, Elder Centipede's the one who took down, because no one else would see that Garo took down Bang, Bomb and Genos, in comparison to where everyone could clearly see Elder Centipede's there, it would really hurt his reputation, which makes a lot of sense. But it's just this look in his eyes. I suppose it's better that he's out there anyway. He wouldn't have beaten him. Like, even with his sudden growth he got, he couldn't have beaten him, because at the end of the day, Saitama's on his way. Any case, Elder Centipede is there, and I have to just talk about Murata's art. Of course, it's all wonderful, as it always is, but that panel, that double page of Elder Centipede just looming over everything is wonderful. And then, just quickly as well, just a great thing to talk about is the comparison between Bomb and Bang and Genos is straight away, like, the moment Elder Centipede rises up from the ground, Genos very quickly realises that's why Scouters were messed up. Not because they were playing up or anything, it's because it was everywhere. Like, Elder Centipede's just so big that he was everywhere. And at the very least, we got to see the difference between a martial artist and a hero. So Bomb was like, what is this thing? There's creatures like this that exist? Bang and Genos very quickly like, okay, we don't have time, we've got to save the heroes, come on. And I know it was only a small bit, but like, that's just the difference between someone who's a pro hero and someone who's a martial artist. Despite the fact they have the same level of skill, I think just those little nice touches are there for us too. Like, instantly, the teamwork there between Bang and Genos were great. Like, Bang opens up, like, you know what I'm saying. He throws glasses to Genos, catches him, like, poof, and then thankfully it doesn't take Bomb too long to jump on and rescue the heroes as well, which is great, because Bomb, like, when the panel comes, when they come down, and Bomb just kicks it and it smashes into loads of little pieces. That was, well, not little pieces, into cylinders. It was awesome. And they've got to get out of there, basically. And they're about to have that one-on-one, like that a 3-on-1 with Elder Centipede. The teamwork, once again, was incredible. When Elder Centipede comes rushing at him, I just want to say, another great panel. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but the art's incredible for this chapter. And when Genos, I love this, because normally he just do, like, I suppose normally there should be, they blast straight away, it's like ice, boom, 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 because Elder Centipede's got so many, like, they blinded him for a second. He jumped out the way, and then Bang and Bomb were like, here's our combo. And then, what was it? Aura Ripping Void Fist? Something along those lines. Roaring Aura, Void Ripping Fist. And at this, and just like you had that panel with a flash of light, that panel where the shockwave goes all across, like it stops Elder Centipede, this giant hulking monster, in his tracks. Those two just stand there. Even Genos is like, so this is the pinnacle of martial arts. wow. And this is what I love. Like, we get to see them go out like, and just like keep, like, Elder Centipede keeps charging. They're not moving a single step. Like, from that footwork from before, where he took the step forward, and it was like, I keep talking about, like, I suppose how the cracks, like, the symbolism of the martial arts power, because it kind of started with Suiryu, where Suiryu was doing it at the beginning of last year, where he took the big step on Saitama, and then the arena shattered, pretty much. In comparison to people like, but you compare him to people like Bang and Bomb, who are just like, and like a massive area of the ground shatters from their step to get good footing. Which is kind of ironic, because by getting good footing, they're destroying their footing. But that was amazing, and I suppose one reason I loved it is because they managed to blast him back, and it was amazing. And then they're just like, yeah, okay, this is something we can only use this is a one-time thing we can't use it very often, thanks for creating the opening kind of thing. Elder Centipede eventually knocks him back, which is why the attack stops, is like, where he gets shot up, like, he goes, why? Knocks him back into trees. They're not too badly damaged from it, but at the very least, it's okay. I've completely forgot to talk about something. I'll get onto that in a sec. But I'll talk about it in a minute. In any case, you know, and it's just the reason I liked it is because we got to see what Bang and Bomb can do as a combo joined together. This is them pretty much going as much out as they can. But Matt, why didn't you like it? The reason I didn't like it is because of the future. It's only because they were so amazed, like, yes, I can't wait to see more of this in the future, and like, oh, we're tired, we're going to be out of action for a bit. I've read the latest chapter, but they've said that tired, out of action for a bit, which makes me sad, because I want more of these guys, and at the very least, if they show up to the action, I think they're going to be weaker than they normally are, because I think things are going to go south whenever the heroes evade the Monster Association, obviously, because, they're going to do everything they can to keep keep doing everything they can to keep Saitama out of it until like the last minute, so he can roll up and go boom boom bap. And it's just going to be a weakened Bang and Bomb. I'm not going to hate seeing that, but I would just like to see them at full power go into the Monster Association and have some really awesome fights. They might still have some awesome fights, but you know, they'd be bad at me if they lost. I'm like, oh, it's because they won at full power, and I wouldn't be satisfied with that. But that's me personally more than anything. Meanwhile, I just think it's also great because this whole fight, despite the compatibility, which I'm going to link to the speech that Phoenix Man gave, yeah, so despite the compatibility that they had against against El Centipede, they still did a lot of damage to him, and if it wasn't for that regeneration ability they had, they would have beaten him, or at least severely weakened him, because that was not, like, that stopped a giant hulking centipede monster dead in his tracks and sent him flying. That is nothing but raw power and skill. And yay, I like martial arts in this series, it's very cool. Compatibility though, let's talk about that, because Phoenix Man goes on, like he says before this whole thing, about how important compatibility is in a fight. And it's very true, because, you know, unless you're basically Saitama, compatibility can matter quite a bit against who you're facing. So I always think about Lightning Genji. I don't think Lightning Genji at all is a weak hero, but when he was up against those two electric monsters, he could only hold them off, but he couldn't really defeat them, because lightning had no effect on him, and that's his main form of attack. So that was my main concern with, yes, so like, it's a very valid point, and as he goes on to say, from their research there are only 4 heroes who can take on Elder Centipede, and they're convinced these are the only heroes, at least. So there's Tatsumaki, who, because of her unparalleled psychic powers, there is Metal Knight, who, because of his unknown, like, they don't know how much his arsenal has, he's not an opponent they want to take on with Elder Centipede. There's King, the strongest man on Earth, and the #1 hero in the Hero Association, Blast. This is the first time we've seen a proper close-up of Blast, and it kind of gets rid of a few theories for me, at the very least, in a good way. So, just quickly, hi webcomic readers, you've probably read this. Yeah, I'd like to ask a bit of respect, please. I don't read the webcomic. It's not that the webcomic's bad. I've read a bit of it and it's fantastic. Just, I want to experience it from Murata, and please don't spoil anything about Blast. I've heard things, Not a lot of detail, but I've heard things. So, and do it for the people who don't watch or read, people who don't read the webcomic as well, please. That's my only request for this. Don't spoil anything to do with Blast. You can have a giggle at the theories, because, hey, I might be a genius and I might have solved the mystery of Blast, but I don't think I have, because this is why I think I'm wrong. Because it starts off, like, we don't even see, like, his face, right? But we see, like, a very heavily detailed, heavily shaded, heavily lined version of Blast, and he was wearing an outfit quite similar to Saitama. He's got, like, well, at the very least, a traditional superhero outfit. I can't say quite similar. I just say that because he's wearing a cape. And it's not that, honestly, there aren't too many heroes that actually wear capes, apart from Saitama, now that I think about it. There are a few, I mean, Atomic Samurai does, and there probably are some more C-class ones, but it's just, so, here's the thing, there's a little Blast theory here. So, at first, I thought Blast might be Saitama, only because, with Saitama, you know, I always thought that it'd be like this good plot twist at the end. It's like, oh no, wait, he's Blast because, you know, if the Monster Association was founded on his heroic deeds, and they're like, oh no, he showed up like a Blast, and we hear rumours of what he does, but then he kind of disappeared for a while. If it was something like that, I was like, oh yeah, that'd be a good twist. And then the other one was actually Bomb, Bang's older brother, only because, you know, he's known as Bang. You know what's bigger than a Bang? It's a Blast. You know, that was just a theory, and obviously that's been shut down too, because as we saw, this is kind of, I imagine this is Blast 2 years ago, the picture we saw, because as we learn, the whole reason Elder Centipede joined the Monster Association was because he thought that he'd end up fighting Blast again and being able to take him on, because they fought a few years ago, and Blast and Elder Centipede barely escaped with his life. So Blast, that was a hell of a plot twist. You want to see a live reaction to that, go watch my live reaction to this chapter over on my channel. I think the best reaction, the two best reactions of this chapter come down to, this was the first one, where, you know, Elder Centipede is like crumbling and like Bang and Bomb are just like swatting it away, the shells that are peeling off, and then all of a sudden it just slowly builds up. And you just got like that when they're all three are staring, and it was funny, but you're like, oh no, it's like end of the world funny where you don't have a choice but to laugh, where you're like, are you kidding me? Just Bang saying that, because Elder Centipede has a pretty OP ability, where despite how destructive and powerful he is, he comes back bigger and stronger every time his shell is destroyed. It's something along those lines. But so they're a bit screwed at this point in the story. And Genos eventually is the one who goes, I will be the one to take him on. I will fight Elder Centipede. And Bang and Bomb straight away are like, we're not letting you do this. I cannot agree to that. And then they it's not in a way that they don't think he's strong, but they're like, you know, you can't take this guy on without dying. And they don't have much hope at this point, because they can't run away, because Elder Centipede will chase them out and cause a lot of more casualties. And, you know, Genos and what was it Blast said? Not Blast. Bomb said something really good. He's like, you know, if you know death is certain, then respect your limits. You've still got a lifetime ahead of you. And they respect Genos, and they can see the skill he has. It's just in comparison to Elder Centipede, if they're like, if we can't take him on, you can't take him on. And then Dr. Kuseno's voice goes through his head, it's like, you know, you've got to know your limits. And Genos is like, I know my limits, but what does that mean, basically? And he takes the stance. So, why is this called Burning Blue? I've decided to call this part Burning Blue because you may have heard of a band called the Jam Project. If you don't and you like One Punch Man, they did the theme song to the anime. They also did a song about Saitama. And they also did a song about Genos. About a month ago now. How do you listen to this song? Simple, go onto YouTube and type in Burning Blue Genos. Because it's a hell of a jam. And it makes the next scene like at least 10 times better. It's only like 1:40, so unfortunately if you reread it back, it's cool. You just have to read really quick. You're like, go, 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 go. And that's why I want an extended version, so I can just be like, okay, I can take my time with this beautiful artwork and these great action scenes. Because Genos' stance, as I got pointed out to me later on, is the exact same stance Saitama took when he destroyed the meteor. It's literally the same pose for pose, you know? He's trying to live more like his master than he is like the people who are trying to say respect your limits. And he wants to live more like Saitama, who keeps really breaking his limits and reaching new limits of strength with the training he did. And this is the equivalent of Genos, you know, like, as much as he respects them, Saitama's his master. He's gonna listen to what Saitama says more than anything. And he flies up. And when he's running along the tail and just going like, boop, 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 like streaming across. That's why I hope the anime is very good. I know it's a different studio. I hope it's very good because this was a very good scene. Because Genos is just like boop, 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 like blasting him constantly in the face. No one, like, oh. So he keeps firing at him, and Bang's trying to warn him, firearms don't damage him, don't do anything. Elder Centipede lunges at him, obviously trying to eat him and crush him. He leaps up into the air, and he's just like, this is what it is to be at war with the monsters. This monster, the monster from yesterday in Garo, I am enlisted in this war. It's my job as a hero. I was like, yes, he's growing. He's becoming more of a hero. He's getting to that stage where he's starting to be less like a, Avenger and more of a hero. I'm hoping it's Saitama's influence, and it'll be interesting to see how he, especially after this, how he goes from it, because I suppose, obviously, it's not, like, the plot with Genos' killer hasn't, well, not killer, but his family, Genos' family's killer, robot, hasn't really gone too far. You think, I mean, he might use this as an opportunity to find out more stuff when he fights the Monster Association, but at the very least, he seems more focused on becoming strong, and less about defeating the robot yet. I suppose that'll be a battle for a later date. Because in any case, when he's up in the sky and then he's got like the flames like whirring in, and like the angel symbolism there, he's come down from the heaven to strike down at the demons, and he plunges straight into his eyes like dual blade rush, stabbing his eye. Elder Centipede is like crying and creasing from the pain, and he manages to snap Genos in half. And I was like, oh, no, Genos, no. Because as he flies to get away, and he's like, you know, I've got to keep breaking my limits to get to that next level so I can beat these monsters. And he has that moment where he starts to glow. And I was so convinced he was going to blow himself up at the time, because that last time we saw that was when he was against Mosquito Girl. And when he lunges back, like, he uses jets, lunges back into the bottom half of his body. What was it? Jet arrow kick? Jet arrow drive? That panel where, like, the flames are just, like, massive. Like, they're like about, I'd say, a fifth of the size of Elder Centipede, because obviously Elder Centipede's bigger and stronger now, which just really echoes how strong Genos is at this point. And he smashes through his teeth into his mouth. And Elder Centipede's now going to be turned to pieces. And Genos is like, you're the one who's about to be exterminated. Boom! Ultra Helix Incineration Cannon just flies through him. I was like, Genos! Yes! That's great! Wonderful, Genos! That was fantastic! He's like, the fire's so big, it shoots through his entire body. It's fantastic. It's marvellous. Why did it not beat him? It should have beaten him. That's my one grievance with this. Is that it was, okay, my own reason for this, because Elder Centipede is supposed to be really powerful. I get it. He's one of the top people at the Monster Association. And Genos burnt him from the inside. To me, that makes sense that he could have defeated him because, you know, he's got such a hard exterior that his interior is his weak point, and he could have just blasted him through, like, roasted him alive. Or at the very least, he should have, like I said, severely weakened him. But he recovered from that as well. Why? I would have loved it if Genos beat. I get it, it's the whole joke that Saitama's got to save the day, and as much as I love Saitama, I truly do, I really think Genos should have beaten him this one time. And I get it, it'll eventually be like his final fight where he gets to beat it, and, you know, Saitama's probably, well, he's had fights like that in the past with the giant robot when King showed up, when he was like, where Saitama was like, I'll take care of it, and he's like, no, master, I've got this. And I just would have loved it if he did this on his own. It would have been fantastic. It really would have. But then, I suppose, my boy's always got to have the spotlight, doesn't he? Yes, Genos, but you were incredible. Same review, different day. Commitment. So, as I was talking about last time, is that Burning Blue, the Burning Blue moment for Genos was amazing, and I'm not happy that he didn't beat him. And I think, you know, like I said before, I get it, it's Saitama's job to beat him, like to always like show up at the last minute, punch him, and that's the joke. But I think I would have been okay with it if they didn't make Genos so amazing. Like, if he did a repeat of what he did with the giant meteor, and he just went like used Ultra Helix Incineration and blasted it straight down, that would have been a great moment, but it wouldn't have been as great as the moment we've got. So it would have been okay if he didn't beat him like, ah, you'll get him next time, Genos. But this time I was like, you should have got him this time, you should have! And then I would have been okay, like much happier for Saitama to show up and beat him. But of course he didn't, and Genos is feeling really bad about himself, and he shouldn't, because he was amazing. Sure, at the end of the day, the result was still a failure, but it was such a magnificent try that you can't help but respect him. It's like Moomin Rider. You know, Moomin Rider's result was a failure when he fought Seeking, but it was such a fantastic effort that everyone loves him for it, and I think it should be the same for Genos here. In any case, as he's like, oh, what is it I'm lacking? Am I just destined to be another hero on the sidelines? And I'm thinking, no, you shouldn't be, because you're great. Bang's just like, okay, we're running, picks them up, they're both running. Bomb's literally carrying all of the A and B class heroes, and they're running, and very quickly they have to stop, because as they realise if they go any further, then civilians and pedestrians are going to be in trouble. Meanwhile, and then on top of that, Bomb goes, also, I'm really old, do you think I can keep doing this? And I'm kind of like, okay, I get you tired, I get that. But, did you forget what you did about 2-3 minutes ago in the chapter? Where you deflected a giant centipede monster, and before that you were fighting a martial arts monster. How have you forgotten this? It was funny when I read it back just now. But we did get to see Bang do something really interesting, where he was like, I guess this is it. I'm going all out for the last time in my life. And he was ready to lay down his life. And the thing is, what I don't know if it's some kind of thing with the Flowing Water Rock Crushing Fist, is his stance, yes, that was fine. But obviously, like, his shoulder muscles really tensed up, and they were throbbing. And it seemed like there was some steam coming off there. So I'm guessing that's where the that's where the power's building up for him, for like one massive last attack, which was great at the very least because it confirms Bang has still like not gone all out. Even with that combo move, he's still got power to spare. But at the same time, I was sad because I didn't want Bang to die. But it seems like whenever he's going to use that power, he's ready to give up his life because it must cause that much backlash and strain on his body at his old age. It's not something he can keep up with. And I was excited to see it. I just didn't want Bang to die yet, because of everything he's got to do with Garo. Meanwhile, a certain someone shows up, and I have to give massive respect to King, because King shows up, he's like, hey, Elder Centipede, I bought Blast. You know, the hero who you pissed yourself and ran out. If you're gonna shit yourself, just go home and do it, or just keep sucking on your mother's tits. I don't care. And he's just bad-mouthing Elder Centipede, and they're just like, he bought Blast, and for a second, not even a second, like a millisecond, I was like, he bought Blast. Wait a minute. He doesn't hang around with, who does he? That moment was just great where him and, like, we get that phone call. Well, no, we see them on, we go back to the Hero Association, and they start talking, and they're all like, oh, they're just saying, oh, well, King called us and wanted as much information about Elder Centipede as we could. It's classified, but we decided to give it to him, which was a good call, because obviously, if the strongest man in the world is there and saying, hey, I'm here to beat this monster, give me some information so I can lure him to him. And like, okay, we'll do it. And like, okay, so we told him the information about Blast, yada yada yada, and like, you know, he's a really dangerous opponent. How did King respond? He went, understood, with a roar of his King engine. And to them, they're like, oh, that's cool. To us, he's shitting himself. I would be too. Honestly, you have a bit. With a guy like Saitama on your side, the actual strongest man in the world, you're more confident, right? I would be too. Like with him. But still, this is a giant bug monster. And it's coming towards you. I fully understand why King is terrified. And I would be, like I said, but I have to give props to King for even being brave enough to do this, considering he's quite a coward, really. You know, he can't. And maybe, like I said, it's because of Saitama, but still, props to King for the courage to stand up to Elder Centipede. And maybe, it was great. But, in the meantime, you know, Elder Centipede starts charging at him, like, and King goes, you only have a moment to attack, and you have to make this attack count. You can't have the body fly anywhere, because it's going to damage the villain, so you have to make sure it's a powerful punch. Make sure you get it this time. And he's like, and like LCP keeps trying, and there's like a pause, and he's like, Saitama, Saitama, and like if Saitama was somewhere else, I mean, it would have been a great feat from Saitama. He was like, "Oh, I'll be right there," and he like shoots over, but he wasn't needed because he was already behind King. And he launches a certain attack I did not expect. And it was great to see an animation chapter again, because when he was like, serious punch, I was so happy about that. But then the more I've been thinking about it, it's asked a lot of questions. So, here's something. So obviously Saitama had to throw a powerful punch to make sure that the body would just basically explode on contact. But that serious punch seemed nowhere near the power of the serious punch that he threw against Boros. Because obviously, you know, sure, that destroyed El Centipede's body completely, to the point where it was just disintegrating upon contact. But just the power of Boros, who was launching, like, I want to say a planet busting attack. I can't say that for certain, so I'm going to say like a country busting attack, or a continent. Basically, he would have done a hefty amount of damage to the planet if that connected. And Saitama not only countered it, but we see like the difference between the serious punch and the what is it? Collapsing Star Roaring Cannon. So I like this because it kind of confirms to me, and if it wasn't obvious, if I'm like, if you guys are like, duh, of course it wasn't, that Saitama still hasn't gone all out, even the Serious series, because Saitama's never had an opponent he's gone, I need to seriously go all out against him, because the only time to use it is Boros, where it was just to counter his attack, just to make him feel like he had a good fight, and he'd said Serious series just to make him feel better. Then, of course, against Sonic, where he used the serious consecutive sidesteps, where that was once again just to be like, I'm going all out, bring at me. But, of course, Sonic was nowhere near Saitama's level, and I think that was just to kind of, like, stop him, like, crush his spirit a bit. Whereas this one, I get it. Like, he had to throw a more powerful punch, which is why he used the serious series. Because I think he could have been in a regular, like, Saitama punch, but I think at least it looked cooler, is also the point. Because the serious punch is a cool move. Despite the fact, at the end of the day, it's a punch. It's just like, it just says, Saitama threw a little bit harder for this. I'm like, he did! Oh my god! Yes, and, you know, and it's great because you got that moment where, like, as it tends to be, like, the chapter was fairly dark. Like, what I noticed, the colours were quite dark, especially before Saitama arrived, the Inkin. And then when he arrives, obviously you get that moment where Genos, where, like, his hair goes like, and Saitama's just there, like, oh, hey, it's Genos! And that was just such a really, I love that moment so much, where it's like, oh, so this is where it was all along. See, King, I told you be okay. And he's like, Saitama, you seem fresh. And while this whole thing's going on, the body's just continually exploding in the background. You go, pop, 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 pop. Elder Centipede was just nothing to him. And he's like, I've worked up so much stress from all this, and you know, now especially from the fighting game, he's like, you still pissed off about that? And he's like, hey, yeah, but it's because your fighting style's so predictable, Saitama. But I suppose with Saitama's fighting style, it's true, it is, because at the end of the day, he hasn't had any like formal training or anything like that. He's just he's basically an average guy with the strength, with unparalleled physical ability. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, if I go, okay, I know a train's coming from here, I know a train's coming at me, it's coming at 200 miles an hour. Just because I know it's coming doesn't mean I have the ability to stop it, and I know exactly where it's coming from. Because it's that much of a power difference between everyone else and Saitama. Saitama's skill is so big that no one's a match for him. Like, even, like, the most skilled, which is why Gora's lost to him twice, and Suiryu couldn't beat him. Because even though they're nowhere near on in power level, despite the skill they have, the power doesn't match up. And then we get this other great moment too with Genos. He's like, Master, there's something I'm lacking. What is it I need? And he's like, power, I guess. And he's like, thank you for your guide. Starts making notes, and King's like, no, don't. He's a bad example. Don't listen to him. I have to disagree with King because true. At the end of the day, like I said, the magnificent effort, and I love Genos' moment here. Truly, I do. But Saitama is the example of how to get it done, because at the end of the day, you could be as like cool as you want and put up as much of an effort, but what really matters is the victory. I'm contradicting myself. I don't want to. It's just basically Saitama's example is a good one to follow, because at the end of the day, out of everyone in One Punch Man, he's the guy who really gets stuff done. Sure, there's the other heroes too, but when Saitama rolls up, it's a guaranteed victory basically. So I think that was pretty much everything that went on with them. I don't really have anything else to add on to Garo, except for the fact that maybe Phoenix Man's going to be some form of mentor to him, because he's like, oh, you're nowhere near the level of the executive monsters yet. And he said yet, that was the key thing, so he sees potential in him. I don't know whether he will, or whether it'll be someone else, like maybe Garo, or maybe he won't have a mentor, maybe he'll just like hang around and learn from them, because as we see, Garo picks up things quite quickly, so if he's just there observing all the monsters fight against when the S-Class heroes arrive, then he might pick up quite a bit from just that, and it'll make him like in a different league to where he was before. Yeah, and he's unconscious and they're heading to the Monster Association. So here's a question, as Garo's going to meet the Monster King, we can guess Garo's he's slowly getting to that monster point. He is, because there have been hints that he's slowly turning into a monster, especially with like his appearance and how when he got blasted through the wall by Saitama, his hair made a solid, it was like the hair should have just gone through with it, but his hair made a solid shape as well, so maybe there's some kind of horns or something developing under there, or maybe his hair's just getting tougher and that's like transformation, that's part of the monster transformation. Do you think when Garo transforms into a monster, he's gonna, like, do you think he'll transform naturally, or do you think he's gonna eat a monster cell? That's just a question I have. Yeah, but overall, this chapter was really good. Like, in general, I love this chapter. The action was fantastic. Everything from the Garo fight to the Elder Centipede fight. When the comedy at the end, like the ending was really funny, I think. Of course it was, because Saitama showed up. And like I said, my only disappointment was that Genos didn't beat him despite that amazing effort. And I get it, it's so Genos' moment when he does shine is even better. Like, that moment, yeah. So when Genos shines, he will, like, so when Genos gets his moment, he'll get his moment, and he'll be like, no, I can take down this guy who, like, I hope a lot of people, like, a lot of S-Class heroes can't really beat, but Genos manages to fight one-on-one equally and beats him. But my expectations now for that moment are all the greater because of how amazing that scene was. Yes! I'm sad that Bang and Bomb aren't going to do much, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that they're not going to do much in the next arc. And, yeah. Overall, really good job, Wano Murata. It was a great way. And if this was the last chapter of the year, I think it would have been like such a fantastic way to end off the year. I've read Is It Because I'm the Kate Baldy? I'm going to review that like in like an hour or so. Thank you for watching. What did you think of this review? Let me know down below. If you missed part 1 of this review, I'll leave it up at the end, as well as a link to my live reaction. And if you want to talk about One Punch Man, I'm totally up for that down below. Give it a like if you like this review. And subscribe if you want to see more One Punch Man on time. Because this... oh boy! Thank you for watching, guys. And I'll see you with my next review, hopefully. If not, thanks for watching. I'll see you when I see you. Cool. Bye, guys. Music.